What's up guys, Mike here with Card2 Sports Cards. I want to do a video that covers my entire card selling process from start to finish. And when I say start, I mean from the very beginning of buying a collection of cards on eBay to dropping those cards in the mailbox after I've made a sale. We're gonna cover everything. What I look for when I'm buying a collection, what scanner and printer I use, and the setup I have in my office here where I store and ship my cards. So let's jump right in. Before we do, if you want to unlock the secrets of selling and investing in low-end sports cards on eBay, this channel is your go-to source for expert tips, honest insights, and strategies to help boost your eBay sales. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me if you want to stay ahead in the card selling game, maximize your profits, and take your eBay card selling business to the next level. You can also check out my other channel at Puck Mike where I open and talk about hockey cards. All right, the first thing I do if I don't have any cards to sell is I head on over to eBay and see if I can find a collection that I think I can resell. First thing I do is go to Terapeak Sourcing Insights. Now I talked about this in more detail in my video on how to buy inventory for your store. You can check out that video here, but basically eBay shows you what products have been selling. So obviously baseball's been getting the most impressions. You can look in more detail and see what specific products are selling too. A lot of these are variation listings, so of course they're gonna get more impressions because they tend to come up more in search results than a single card would because there's multiple cards tied to that listing. Honestly, you don't need this insights tool to be your guide, and I think you need at least the basic eBay store subscription to get access to it anyway. So I might just use this tool as an idea of, hey, newer baseball is selling the most. I've actually used this tool for a few months now, and it just seems like the newer products are what's getting the most impressions. So if you don't have that tool, what do? I have a few sellers that I've saved that have some inventory that I really like. So you really just need to use the tools that you do have and the knowledge that you have and make your best guess. At the end of the day, even a tool that says buy this product now is either not 100% accurate, or if it is accurate, it's going to be different the next week anyway because the sports card market changes so much and so frequently. I'm constantly sourcing, researching eBay to see if I can find collections that I think I can flip for profit at the price point I want. And even if you're not ready to buy at that point, you can save those sellers and items and go back to them when you're ready to make a purchase. So this is a collection of cards I bought just a couple days ago from a seller I bought from before. I really like the seller because you get a lot of cards for really cheap. Now the cards are older cards. Most of them are from the junk wax era, but the reality is that people are still buying junk wax era cards on eBay and cards from the late 90s. I bought a 630 card hockey collection from this buyer for $26. I've already netted $24.37 from that collection, selling 19 cards so far. And guess what? All but one of those cards from those sales is after the year 2000. So all the others are from the 90s. So yes, collectors are still buying junk wax. For some collectors, that's literally all they can afford. So I really like these types of collections because the cost is so cheap that I can make a decent profit on a card sale and don't have to charge too much. If I just sell 20 or 30 cards out of that 630 card collection, I'm gonna make profit on that collection. One of the Gretzky's from that collection, I actually sold for like $4 or $5. And with the cost of the card only at 4 cents for that collection, that's pretty good profit margins for me. So this one here made an offer of $10. The seller came back with $12. Shipping's definitely high at $7.75, but is what it is, I guess. If the price gets too high, I'll look for another seller for my next inventory purchase. That specific collection we just saw on screen is supposed to be arriving today in the mail, but this is how the last collection arrived. They're not all on penny sleeves and some of the edges are worn, but kind of to be expected with older cards and selling this many cards at one time. So the first thing I do once I have the entire collection is I go through the entire collection one by one. Number one, because it's really fun and it's really cool to do, but what I'm looking for are cards that have grading potential, but also cards from the collection that I think will sell the fastest, because those are the ones that you want to list first. So I'll set the ones that have good grading potential aside, and I'll set the other ones that I'm not going to grade but that I want to list first on eBay in a different pile. The quicker you make your money back from a collection, the less pressure to sell or list other cards from it that you don't feel as confident about in terms of potential buyers. I also sift out any cards that I don't think will sell at all at this point, and I put those away as well. Now I don't take them straight to Goodwill where I usually take a lot of my cards that I want to get rid of, because sometimes I'll go back through these collections in a few months and think, why didn't I list this one? This player's doing really well right now. I think the card will sell, and I end up finding more cards to list that I didn't previously. All right, you bought the collection, you sorted through it, now let's get it listed on eBay. This is the Epson ES402 scanner, and every product I talk about in this video, I'll put a link to it in the description. While I have hit 1,000 subscribers, and thank you all so much for that support, I do still need more watch time hours to monetize the channel, so I'm not getting any affiliate proceeds from you using those links yet, at least not at the time of recording this video, but hopefully if you're watching this a few months after publishing it, that I will be making money. In terms of what scanner to use, honestly, pick one that's not too expensive. expensive. I think there's a Ricoh and something else for like 500. They can even go up to 1,000. There's flatbed scanners. I like this one because I think it was only a few $100s, and the quality of the pictures is amazing. So first thing I'll do is I'll get my card to scan it. I usually put the card in a penny sleeve before I scan, usually because the scanner does leave some lines on the card. Some of these older cards and even some newer cards I've been putting in without the penny sleeve. I feel terrible doing this because I feel like it's damaging the card, but some of them I do it and then I inspect the card and there's literally nothing on the card, even some faint lines I can't see. So I try to stick to the penny sleeve, but I'm also listing so much that sometimes I'll just scan them without the penny sleeve. So you put it in, you scan it. Here's that card here on screen, looks pretty good. I'll rotate it. Sometimes there's lines, you might have to flip it around and scan it again. I did a whole separate video on how to kind of remove those lines. You can check that video out as well. This one looks pretty good. I also have a separate setting for hollow cards, like shinier cards, like refractors and stuff. If you're using this scanner, these settings right here actually work pretty good. So take a screenshot of this if you want. But for regular sports cards, these are the settings I use with this scanner. So you can also take a screenshot of that too. They work really well. So I have the card image, I saved it on my computer. Now I'm gonna go to eBay and search for that card. So Burbank here has a lot of these cards listed, 169. So if you've watched my other videos about how you don't really need Card Dealer Pro to list your cards, you know that you can just go right here, click sell now. It brings up that same template of that listing for that card. I drag in the photos that we scanned in. You can fill all this other stuff in. I do go through and make sure all of these details are put in. So it does take a little bit more time. Sometimes they're already filled in though, sometimes they're not. I think it helps with the eBay algorithm in terms of where you appear in search results, but I also don't really know. So I'm just doing it just in case. Condition's actually pretty good. I'll put in my description template here. Burbank's charging 169. I have a really good cushion of profit margins on these. I'm gonna do 199 and I'm not gonna allow offers on these ones just because 30 cents more than Burbank's selling is not that bad. I'm not as big as Burbank, so buyers are gonna expect to pay a little bit more from a smaller business. And they are cards from the 90s, so even though they are selling, they're not as sought after sometimes. I always do 3% on promotion and then you list it and that's it. All right, so now that the card is listed, we are going to store it. This is where I store my cards right now. This is all the cards I have listed with the exception of a few variation listings I have over here to my right. The way I sort my cards is very similar to Burbank Sports Cards in California, except I think they also do it by set because they have such a large volume. But basically ABC's 1, 2, 3. You have your little tabs right here that shows A, B's right behind that, and then they're sorted by number through those. So this would be B351. So I'll probably pull this out so I can see it a little bit better. 340, 370. So 351 goes right there. If somebody buys that card tomorrow or 3 years from now, all I have to do is go to B, go to 351, and that card should be there if I've done my job. So it's a way to really retrieve inventory very quickly. Just a quick peek at all my other ones too. C, D, E. These are constantly being adjusted as I add new inventory. You have to put some cards in other slots. I think I have about 2,500 cards right now. It's pretty much through this drawer right here. Also have some variation listings here. Now I do usually list a few at a time just because I don't want to have to go back and forth from my computer, which is in the main room in the office here, to the closet here where I store my cards. So that's everything from buying, listing, storing. How do I fulfill the orders once someone actually buys the card? So I get an order, I go to eBay under the notifications bell right here. If I had an order, it would say paid ship now. Once you click on that, it takes you to the screen where you can buy shipping. Now be sure to check out my video on how to ship sports cards on eBay where I go in depth about the different shipping options and packages that you can use. I usually do the eBay standard envelope. The process is a little different for international orders, which I'll show in a minute. So I make the purchase for the shipping. I don't have any cards to ship right now, unfortunately, so I can't show you that piece. If you've shipped cards on eBay before and bought shipping on eBay before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now this is where the process is a little different for me from what I was doing maybe 5-6 months ago. I used to just print the label on a regular piece of paper, cut it out, tape it on the envelope with Scotch tape. What I do now is I download the label and then I use a program called Canva, which has a free option, by the way, and I have 2 templates already set up. This is the domestic one here. So once I downloaded that label from eBay, you know, after you make that purchase, it has a screen where you can either print the label or download the label. I download it, I load it into this document, and then I print it with my template that I've already made to size the envelope. For international orders, it's a little bit different because I ship with a global forever stamp from the US, so I don't buy my shipping from eBay for those orders, but I do still print the label and load it into Canva like I just showed you, and then I print on the envelope. The only difference here is since you're not buying your shipping on that screen where you can purchase shipping on eBay, I just go to the orders screen, I click the little drop down, you can go to print packing slip and more. You don't want the packing slip, but you want the address label. You can hit download, and I load that into Canva as well, into my international template, and I print that one the same way I did the domestic one. Then I slap one of these global forever stamps on it and send it on its way. Now this is the Canon TS9020 printer. You can see that's where I load my envelopes right there. Honestly, you literally just need a small printer that you can use to print on envelopes with. I wouldn't buy this printer. I already had this printer, so why would I buy a new one? But I think you can get a decent printer where you can just print on envelopes on Amazon for probably like 60 bucks. Once this one dies, I'm gonna find something much smaller. I did see an advertisement for a printer the other day that didn't use ink. I think it used like thermal or heat or something like that. And it wasn't labels. It would still print directly on the envelope. So might look into that eventually, but for now, this works. It's already paid for. I'm gonna keep using this one. In terms of improvements, the added step of loading the label into Canva does slow the process down a bit, although it is much faster than what I was doing before. For some reason, I can't get the orientation right for printing directly on the envelopes with this printer just by using the default printing screen. So this is the only workaround that I found. When I get a new printer someday, I'll be able to speed the process up even more. Also, if you notice here, I have everything in this room that I need to fulfill an order. I have some extra cards there, all my shipping supplies. I can literally do it all from this chair right here. If you're just selling a few cards, I guess you don't need to be as particular about your logistics, but as your business grows, every second counts, especially if you're selling those low-end, cheaper cards. You don't want to be spending too much time shipping out a card that you only made 30 cents on. And last step, of course, is mailing the card. If I have orders on any given day, I pack them up that night and I ship them out the next day. There are some days where I might be able to package up the orders that sell in the morning and send them out that day as well. But as a stay-at-home dad with 2 kids under 3, I'm usually running around in the morning, dropping off at school, going to an appointment or something. So I do the best I can to get things out as quick as I can. But I usually just drop the cards in the mailbox where we live. If you're already going by a post office during your day-to-day, it might not be a bad idea to drop them there instead, just because it cuts out the process of the mail person picking it up, taking it to the post office, extra sorting. I almost never drop them in the blue mailboxes outside, just because I have had some get lost that way. Could have just been coincidence, but not sure if those boxes are conducive to cards getting stuck or lost more often. I don't know. So if you do go by a post office, drop it inside the slot, inside the building. That goes right into a USPS bin, and they'll usually send or sort it out much quicker. And fun useless fact, I worked at a mailroom when I was in college. Well, how's that information going to help you sell sports cards? It probably isn't, but don't we feel more connected now that I've shared that with you? The only other thing we didn't mention, I'll probably cover in another video, is negotiating with buyers who make offers on cards. The best case scenario is someone buys your card at listed price, but sometimes you get offers in. If it's a good offer that I'm comfortable with, I'll accept. A lot of times I get lowball offers at like $1, which 99.9% of the time I don't accept because I offer free shipping. Now, depending on how I'm feeling, I might just decline that offer, but a lot of times what I do is respond with my best offer that still allows me to make a little money on the card, and I'll include a message that says something like, hey, thanks for the offer. The best I can do is this price since I'm offering free shipping. Many of those lowball offers are turned into sales just with that little message, and I think it reminds the buyer, hey, I am offering free shipping here. So the price might be a little higher, but you're not gonna pay for shipping. That's it, guys. I hope these tips help you. I'll put a link to every item I use in the description of the video. At the end of the day, of course, always find what works best for your business. Everyone's space is different. Some people are shipping from a bedroom, which is what I did for the first couple years when I was selling cards. Take the tips that can enhance your own processes and make it your own as long as it's helping you grow efficiently and profitably. You don't have to do what someone else is doing just because somebody else is doing it. Find what works for you and keep refining your processes with every sale. As always, if you want to unlock the secrets of selling and investing in low-end sports cards on eBay, this channel is your go-to source for expert tips, honest insights, and strategies to help boost your eBay sales. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button for me if you want to stay ahead in the card selling game, maximize your profits, and take your eBay card selling business to the next level. You can also check out my other channel at Puck Mike, where I open and talk about hockey cards. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.